Drugs have a shelf life on your soul. At first, they can feel like a door, a crack in the wall, a glimpse behind the curtain. They show you things about yourself, about perception, about the depth you didn't know you carried. And for some people, that first season isn't just pleasure, it's revelation. But here's what I don't hear said enough. Every lesson has an expiration date. And once you've learned what you needed to learn, continuing isn't growth, it's avoidance. In the beginning, substances can feel like they're expanding you because they temporarily change the filter you look through. They loosen the grip of your normal patterns. They interrupt the routine of your mind. They can soften the fear that keeps you locked in the same rooms, and that can be powerful. Not because drugs are good, but because you finally experience something you weren't experiencing sober. Emotion without armor, thought without rigidity, a new angle on your own life, a sense of meaning you forgot existed. In that season, it's easy to believe this is the path, but it's usually not the path. It's the flashlight. Here's the problem. A flashlight is meant to help you see the terrain. It's not meant to replace your eyes. The substance shows you something, and then it keeps showing you the same thing. At first, the insights feel new, then familiar, then predictable. And somewhere in there, the shift happens. You stop using it to discover, and you start using it to return, to a feeling, to a state, to an escape hatch. Not because you're evil, not because you're broken, but because your nervous system learns the shortcut. Why walk the path slowly when you can teleport to the sensation? Why build real peace when you can buy temporary relief? That's where the shelf ends. Because the lesson was never meant to become a lifestyle. It was meant to become wisdom. Once you've had the insight, the next step is integration. And integration is boring. It's not a cosmic revelation. It's Tuesday. It's changing how you speak to people. It's changing what you tolerate. It's changing your habits. It's changing what you do when you're lonely, stressed, triggered, or tired. It's learning to be yourself without needing to alter yourself. And that's why a lot of people get stuck. Because substances can give you the feeling of transformation without requiring the cost of transformation. They can make you feel like you're going deep while quietly keeping you from going forward. At a certain level of self-awareness, drugs stop expanding you and start limiting you. They don't reveal new truth. They blur truth you've already earned. They fog clarity you fought for. They interrupt the relationship you're building with your own mind. They keep you circling the same lessons like a carousel that feels like movement. And you start noticing something strange. You're not becoming more awake. You're becoming more dependent. Not always physically. Sometimes it's subtler than that. You start needing the substance to access states that should be available through maturity, peace, openness, creativity, emotional softness, connection, awe, truth. And if you need something external to consistently access your inner world, that's not freedom, that's a leash. Growth eventually asks for sobriety, not as punishment, but as respect for who you've become. Because once you've seen the door, your work is to learn how to walk through it sober, to keep it open with discipline, to keep it open with presence, to keep it open with nervous system strength. This is where the real spiritual path begins for many people. Can you stay with life as it is without needing to escape it? Can you carry depth into ordinary moments without needing a chemical portal? Can you face your pain directly and not call it healing just because you're feeling something intense? Because intensity isn't always growth. Sometimes intensity is just intensity. Growth is what you become afterwards. And I want to say this gently. Some people aren't using drugs to expand. They're using drugs to survive, to numb grief, to quiet anxiety, to soften trauma, to feel okay for a few hours. If that's not you, there's no shame in the truth. But the question still matters. Is this taking you where you need to go, or is it keeping somewhere you've outgrown? Because eventually the soul asks for consistency, not a peak experience, a stable light, not another doorway, but a home. Drugs have a shelf life on your soul. At first they show you things, then they start showing you the same things again and again, until you realize the lesson already arrived. And now the next phase is different. Now the next phase is sobriety, not because you're being punished, but because you're being invited. to become the kind of person who no longer needs to escape to feel alive, because the real trip is staying present.